By the authority vested in me by the state of Washington, I now pronounce you married.
Hey, I always do that. No, it's head down, lift up, eyebrow raise, smile. Hey guys, that's my routine. You look at the videos.
That could be
it is
closer.
a checklist. There's always an eyebrow raise. So it's I think of something that's funny, so that when I lift my head, I'm laughing.
I'm sorry, but that would be a very funny intro. For it just to be text. Eyebrow, head down, or head up, eyebrow raise, smile, hey guys, and then it starts.
Exactly.
Right?
Totally.
Rather than Dustin Hunter.
That's exactly what it is. So yeah.
Okay. It's like a countdown of 3, 2, 1.
Right. Hey guys, this is Jeff.
Hi.
This is a wedding video of sorts. In a couple days, it will be our 1-year anniversary since getting married. I'm going to upload this on that day. And this is a video for people who watch a lot of my videos, who ask a lot of questions, or maybe curious. This is for people who give a shit. Yeah. Not everybody gives a shit. But those of you who do, you're going to get to know him, because I don't normally share much about my personal life, and I just thought that this would be fun. I also thought that this would be a fun, uncomfortable exercise for us to do together. So we're going to be talking about mostly the wedding, or a little bit about the rehearsal dinner. I do want to talk about the engagement a little. I have my engagement ring, which is what's twirling around on my finger in case you see it. And we've also asked each other, or written down questions to ask one another about the wedding and stuff like that, I guess. I don't know what his say. He doesn't know what mine say. I'm kind of curious to find out if they say the same thing or if they're completely different. And we'll answer our own questions as well, but they're just sort of something to do that I guess we'll do like at the end. So that's that. So if you care, then
keep watching.
Then let's get started. So do you want to talk about the engagement then? Okay.
Sure. We had talked about getting married, but not formalized anything.
No.
At Christmas, this was something you didn't know.
I didn't know any of it. The whole thing was actually a surprise to me, and not a lot surprises me.
But we were leaving your parents' house at Christmas, and I kept waiting to get your mom alone to ask her, to get her permission. Because I wanted to do
her blessing.
Her blessing.
Yeah.
We were never alone that whole night. And finally, when we were leaving, you said, okay, well, we'll take stuff to the car. And there was too much, so I got to run back in. And I had to, hit her with a freight train.
Oh, that's
super
funny.
quick.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I ran in and I'm like, okay, so he's in the car. I didn't have time to ask you this. Would it be okay? I mean, it was it was so not.
And she said no?
No. She gave me a hug. She said, of course.
That's sweet.
So that happened in December.
Right.
And then I went through that thing because we're two men. And it was like, well, do you get an engagement ring?
Yes.
Or not? And I knew you. So I thought, yes, there needs to be a ring of some kind. So I talked to Erica at Hitchcock Madrona, because I knew she knows your style. And we started sending messages back and forth and sketching. I would sketch stuff out and take pictures and send it to her. She would send me images of things. And that ring went in all sorts of directions. Knowing your style of jewelry, a simple ring wasn't right? And you're always talking about stacking rings together, and you like different layers. And so when I was talking with Erica, we talked about how can we design a ring that would allow for things to be stacked with it.
So you can see separated, there's 2 rose gold bands and then the black diamonds and white gold. But the way you presented it, I thought was really sweet, because you were talking about creativity and stuff like that when you gave me these.
I don't remember what I said. That was a big day for me.
So it was
a crazy day.
It was your birthday.
It was my birthday. We were staying in Seattle. And Dustin had brought them down. Not you, Dustin, but Erica's cousin, Dustin.
So that's actually why I'm wearing this, because I mentioned
Yes.
this in a video and I said I would tell the story of this. So you got the engagement ring. We were in Seattle, and Erica's cousin, Dustin, was delivering the ring, but he needed an excuse to come by the hotel because it would just be strange if he just like showed up and Jeff went to go meet him. So you went to go meet him for something, and I don't even know if you told me why, and then you came back and you said they gave you this, which is a sterling silver guitar pick.
Yeah.
And I thought that it was so cool, and I'm like, why? And you were like, oh, they just thought that it's just like...
Yeah, I made up some bullshit story.
They just wanted to give...
Apparently you bought.
Wanted to give you a gift. I totally bought it, because there was a present attached to it. And I actually thought that this was so cool, and I do love it. And I thought that it was so cool. And I was like, that's so sweet, that's so awesome, that I never questioned why the hell, because they could have mailed it, or they could have just said stop by the shop, but he just shows up at the hotel.
Yeah.
And but this was the
ruse,
the Trojan horse,
yes,
that was carrying the engagement ring that I would get later that weekend, because we'd gone up there for your birthday, which is also why I didn't expect it, because it was his birthday,
right? And that was my present to myself.
Which is so sweet.
I know, right?
But we got back to the hotel. You had sunflowers in the room and champagne. Sunflowers are my favorite flower. And
some like chocolates and stuff.
Right. Can I digress and tell the couples massage story?
Yeah, because that comes after.
Okay. So the next day, he had also arranged this place that we were staying had a spa there, and he had arranged for a couples massage and spa kind of thing, which was really sweet and really fun. And so we go down there, and it's a body scrub, a soak in like a hot bath, and then a massage, and then we were having dinner right afterwards in the restaurant, which is also in the hotel. So we go down, it's a big room, 2 tables, we both lay on the tables, and there's people coming in when he's going to scrub you down. But I'd never had a body scrub before, you hadn't either.
No.
And so we're vigorously getting like exfoliated with like salt and stuff, and it did hurt.
Yes, it did hurt
quite a bit, and
it was abrasive.
The guy that was doing Jeff, it was so hard that afterwards we looked, and your leg hair was tied into knots because he was like rubbing so vigorously. So after I have most layers of skin removed, they say, okay, the tub is ready. They fill it with scalding hot water, and they say by the time you're done with the scrub, it should be at the perfect temperature. Perhaps if you were used to really hot water, and if you hadn't just had every layer of skin removed. So we get in the tub, and it is scalding hot. You were actually kind of okay.
Well, it was even hot for me,
but
I adjusted to it quicker.
I was like starting to get dizzy and sick, and I'm trying to I'm filling up from water from the bath tap thing from the because I couldn't. Then they come in and they're like, okay, in a couple minutes it'll be time for your massage, so they're gonna get us on the table. So he gets on his table, I get on my table, and I notice that the table warmers are on, and I'm thinking, no way. Right. So they come in, and you're laying down, I'm sitting up. And it was a woman who was working on me, and a guy who's working on you, and she looks at me and she's like, oh, like she doesn't expect me to sit. I'm covering myself. Right. But she's like surprised that I'm sitting up. I said, you need to turn this table warmer off because I'm gonna faint. And so she turns it off, and then it's a hot stone massage. So I'm hot and have no skin, and I've soaked in the tub. I'm laying on a hot mat, and she's putting hot rocks on me, and I actually remember starting to black out and thinking, at least I'm laying down so that when I faint, I'm not going to hit my head or something. Just go with it. So we get the hot stone massage, then we shower and everything and get ready, but we're so
brain dead.
Oh my God, just completely just overheated and dehydrated and
totally relaxed.
very relaxed, and my skin is super soft. And we go out to the restaurant, and we go up and you say, okay, we have a reservation. They say, give us a minute. They come back and they say, okay, your table's ready. We have a great table for you.
Right.
It's right by the fireplace. So they sat us next to this gigantic fireplace.
Right.
And we sat down, and I just wanted water. That's all I wanted was water. And I'm looking at the menu, and I remember saying, I can't. And I told our server, I cannot. You just bring me food. I don't care, because I can't do
You
this.
couldn't make any decision.
Nothing was, I couldn't read. I'd lost all abilities. Oh, that's a video. Yeah. So we just moved into the house, and we're thinking, instead of getting like a venue, let's take some of the budget money for the wedding and let's have it at the house.
Like we had a budget.
And let's use that that money that we were going to spend on doing the wedding to like fix up the house so that it's right for guests and all that stuff. But also then when they're gone, we have a lot of remodeling done.
Right.
So the months leading up to the wedding was crazy, insane. Planning a wedding, because it's a good idea in theory until you realize that you're planning a wedding and remodeling a house at the same time, and then you realize how stupid that is, because it's a lot of work. So it was a lot of long days and hours working on stuff. Okay, so the rehearsal dinner, the reason I wanted to talk about the rehearsal dinner is because I liked how it looked.
Right.
That's the reason I wanted to talk
Well,
about it.
so here, okay. So the other thing is, we were not planning a traditional wedding, like in a church or anything. We were doing it at our backyard. We weren't having wedding parties.
No, there was no wedding party. There was no aisle.
The point being, because we weren't
There was
doing
nothing
it,
to rehearse.
right.
Is
right.
what you're... Is,
Yes.
Yeah. So the rehearsal dinner is what we've called it, but it was just a dinner. And so because of that, we did it a couple days before the wedding, which made it way easier. I want to talk about the wedding, how it looks, and then the difference between that and the rehearsal dinner. So we're going to go forward and backward a little.
Got it.
So the wedding, we actually hired Dustin, Erica's cousin from Hitchcock Madrona, to come in and basically stage the whole thing. We kind of gave him our ideas and said, this is what we want. And he kind of ran with that. And he made something that looked really, really, really beautiful. It was very neutral, whites. There were some pops of oranges.
Right. But most of the colors, I always think of them as like faded
Green,
or bleached.
Yeah, it was supposed to look very natural and naturey and neutral, but happy, not a bunch of brown. The rehearsal dinner, now that you know that, I want to go back to the rehearsal dinner, was one of my favorites because I thought the rehearsal dinner reflected me more. Everything was dark, like red, burgundy. It was that, wouldn't it be fun to do the opposite of?
Yeah.
And that's where we had the cake. There was no cake at the ceremony, and we'll get into that in a second. But that's where we had the like 3-tiered cake that had like, it was like a burgundy with gunmetal like little pellet things on it.
Yep.
And the cake topper that I had ordered off of Etsy.
Right.
It was a little carved wood thing. It was 2 guys under a tree.
Uh-huh.
And it says "Always You" on it, which is a line from a song that I wrote for Jeff when we first met. And so that was fun, and that made you cry.
Well, it started to make me cry again. I was trying to focus and not.
That's also where we did presents.
You surprised me.
Yes. So
Yeah, we didn't do presents.
you gave me a gift
on the day.
Oh, did you do it on the day?
Yeah, because I didn't know you were doing this.
Okay, so we got each other gifts. I got a necklace that I'd been looking at, but I didn't want to spend any money on. And then I had contacted, I'm going to try and hold this up. So I had contacted Erica at Hitchcock Madrona with via a text with a sketch of this and said, can you make this? And she's like, totally. So we talked about it and had it designed. It was this whole thing about, is it going to hang from like the 2 things or is it not? So what this is, I'm going to hold it up again so you can see it. Our initials, we didn't change our last names.
Nope.
So this is our last names stuck together. And the fun thing that I didn't even realize at the time is you can flip it one way or the other and it's the same.
It's the same.
Okay, so wedding day. We had caterers come in. I knew I wanted people to be served. That was one of my things. I wanted people walking around with platters of food, all fancy like.
Because we were not doing a sit-down dinner.
Right. We had tables, but there was no ever real formal. There was only one, and it was the wedding cake was the sort of part of the like formal sit down and eat. The rest of it was all kind of get up and mingle. So we had what did we have for appet? We had these sliders. We had some skewer pot sticker things. We had some caprese things. We had it was really good. And then there was like a whole like
table
with
vegetables,
veggies and meats and cheeses and dips and all that kind of stuff. And it was done really well. The caterer did an amazing job. The food was really good when I tasted it, when we tried it, but I didn't eat on the day because I just couldn't. The guest book. So we were doing all this work in the house. There's a wall right on the other side of this one in the hallway that had this really fun wallpaper that was like, it was bamboo with like a grass cloth thing over it. It was neat, but it was torn up and just looked like crap. And we knew it was going to have to go, but it wasn't in the budget to replace it just yet. So we decided, I kind of posed the question, I think, of what the hell is a guest book for? I don't like clutter. And I'm like, what? This thing that you have, and then what? What do you do with it? Put it in a box
and put it away.
I know, and then it becomes something that you can't throw away. But what are you going to do with it?
Right.
So we had this idea to rip down the wallpaper and smooth out the wall and give everybody drinks and markers and say, write on the wall. And that's the guest book. So, and it's still there because we haven't covered it yet. Right. The guest book is just everybody. I just wanted everybody to have fun and draw all over the wall. I draw pictures, write whatever you want, do whatever, and just have fun. Vandalize the house. But stay in this section. And
with the understanding that we would be wallpapering
absolutely
over it, and it will just become part of
the house. That was the thing, is because everybody's like, oh, well, now it has to stay. Oh, well, we did take pictures, but that's not the point. The point is it'll just get covered up. And then maybe years from now, if somebody lives here and takes it down, it'll have all these fun messages from people, these like good luck messages, which I think is really kind of awesome.
It was like having a cocktail party. We were just mingling and talking, and everybody was just having a good time.
So we did the ceremony.
Yep.
We wrote the thing ourselves. We didn't like write our own vows, and I wanted to as little repeat after me as possible. I wanted to talk as little as possible. And then after the ceremony is when we did the wedding cake, which was strawberry shortcake, because it's summer. Right. We told them we just wanted a plated dessert. We're not going to have a big cake. Just bring around. We wanted strawberry shortcake and champagne. So we had champagne brought to every table. You gave a toast, and we had strawberry shortcake for dessert. But this is one of the cooler ideas that I don't know where the hell we came up with it. The table that had all of the meats and the cheeses and the veggies and stuff like that came out. It was like a baked brie with honey, and they still left a lot of the fruit. But there was like brownies and cookies and chocolatey fondue things and all kinds of all sorts of. It became a dessert table, and coffee came out. So it really helped like transition from like one thing. So people didn't. At a wedding, it always seems like everybody's like, you go to the ceremony, you sit, you wait, it happens, and then you all like you make your appearance at the reception. And then get out as quickly as possible. That's how we always did weddings in my family. It's like, okay, that's done. Bye. And I wanted people to have a good time and just relax and feel comfortable.
And we weren't doing a DJ or a dance floor or anything like that. So it really was more just like having a little more than a cocktail party. Yeah. But that's what it was. It was just come, hang out, mingle. It was some food, fun. Talk to people. It was. It was a lot of fun.
Good times.
So, questions?
Do you want to ask questions?
Yeah. I'll just take this one. Do you want me to read it to you?
No, I'll read it.
Okay.
What surprised you the most that day? Should I be honest?
Yeah.
Like really honest?
Well, we'll see.
What surprised me?
This isn't live. So.
What surprised me the most was my mom's reaction. I'm an only child, and my mom was going through something that day. She's gonna watch this, and she's gonna think I'm a dick for bringing this up. But there was something going on. It was a shift. It was a change. You two had
a different connection that day.
It was interesting. It was very different, and that surprised me the most. It was good. It felt really good, but it was an interesting sort of dynamic shift.
So when I think of that question, the thing that surprises me the most was how calm I was that day, because I really assumed I would be a frantic mess with details and worrying about things. And I just kind of let it all go that day, and I was just calm.
That's good.
It was good, but it surprised me because I usually would be amped up on details. What, if anything, do you think has changed since getting married? The one thing that has changed that I actually like is introducing you as my husband. It doesn't feel weird to say it.
The first time I said it, it was weird. The first time I said it, it was like, oh, I've never said that before.
But like when you go to the doctor, you go somewhere and they're like, well, this is my husband.
Right.
Nobody bats an eye, and I don't think anything about it.
Yeah.
But it's something I had to get used to because it was suddenly, now it was a title that you can use and people understand it. What about you?
You started to touch on it a little bit when you were talking, because I think, I don't think anything has really changed between us, and I don't think of things in any sort of different terms, but I was surprised at how other people change. And I noticed right away with a lot of people who are straight and married that it's the same, I suppose, as like if you have a kid and suddenly everybody who has kids like you, oh, okay, I know what, because I have a kid. It's the same kind of thing. And kind of made me roll my eyes a little, but it was really, really weird. That's the thing that, that's the only thing that I can think has changed.
Okay.
When you think back on the day, what moments or images come to mind? Like a flaming skull screaming. My things are kind of, they're not romantic necessarily.
They don't have to be romantic.
Like back sweat. Because it was really hot. And I'm not a big sweater.
Yeah, I am.
You are. And so this is a tip for people. 2 shirts. Mm-hmm. That was one of the things that I got for him when we were getting our clothes together and everything. And yeah. I called the people that were making our suits for us, and I was like, okay, Jeff needs an extra shirt. Uh-huh. He's gonna need an extra shirt. And so I wanted to make sure that you had a backup so that when we were doing photos and walking around and greeting people, that was one shirt, but then ceremony and afterwards you could change into a fresh shirt so that you just feel more comfortable. So that's, I'm gonna say that. I'm just gonna say that. That's something that pops in mind. You can say something sweeter because I'm sure that you will.
Well, I do have a couple.
Okay.
One of them, and again, this is funny because it's an image that I have in my head because it's a picture you took, but I don't remember doing it. And it's going out to lunch.
Oh.
You had said one thing you wanted us to do that day was to have some private time alone. And so we went down to the farmer's market. We got our lunch and we went over and sat under a tree that we had always sat under before.
It was our first date. And we had lunch there.
You took a picture of our feet.
We were standing in line waiting for the...
And so I have that image when I think back about that day. That image pops into my head. And I remember that we took the time to have lunch together. I don't remember what we said or did.
I'm going to talk about it in a minute.
Okay. But that's one image that pops into my head when I think about the day. The other one is I think about my family being right over your shoulder.
Oh, and seeing them.
And seeing them there. It's just a good feeling. Were you going to talk about lunch or is that coming?
Oh, in a minute.
Oh, I see.
Girl, calm down.
All right.
Okay. Because it's my tip.
Share an insight or tip or something to keep in mind that might be helpful to others.
This is the YouTuber part of me.
This is the YouTuber part. You have to decide what you're going to let go of. We went round and round about that tent.
Yes.
Because I was, whatever type I am, that was worried about the contingency of rain.
It's Washington, and you never know.
And in my mind, you had to have a rain plan. And the only way to guarantee it was to tent the backyard.
Right.
And that was going to be a nightmare. We had talked about if we don't do a tent and it starts to rain, what are we going to do? We had kind of a half-assed plan B, and I just told myself, let it be. If it rains, just be happy.
So pick certain things.
So pick certain things that you can say, you know what, just let it go and just be happy with the day.
Got it.
That was my tip.
Good tip.
Thanks.
Good job. Mine pertains to us going out before the wedding. And that would be before the wedding, before the ceremony, leave together, go do something fun. Don't tell anyone where you're going. Tell one person who you trust, who needs to know, just in case something, where you are. But otherwise, don't tell anyone. Don't check your phone. Don't worry about anything. Just tell people, we're going to be gone for an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, however long you have, and then we'll be back. That's all you say. And go connect and remember why you're doing this in the first place. Because at that point, really, there's nothing you can do that's going to change anything. It is set in motion and it will happen how it's going to happen. Let it go. So leave, Go have a good time, have some fun, and then come back and get married and enjoy yourself. That would be my tip.
That's a good one.
For the
And I
wedding.
forgot to mention, I did also ask Jay's permission too.
Really?
I did.
That's
I think
sweet.
I asked him before I asked your mom.
Because it's easier.
Well, he was here. We went out for coffee, and I just wanted to make sure it was good.
That's
'Cause
sweet.
he's your best friend.
That's sweet.
So, sorry to throw that in there, but I realized that
No, that's
I
fine.
did that.
You're good. How do you feel?
I'm happy.
Yeah.
And we did not go on a honeymoon.
We didn't. People
We
asked
decided
that.
to stay in the house and
The house
live
that
on the
we-
land that we had tried
we
to
did
improve.
all the work on.
Yeah, that we would just enjoy it.
We did.
Finally.
I
It's
like
been a
it.
good year. Hi, buddy. Are you still glad you said yes?
Uh-huh.
Good. Me too.
All right, guys. That is it.
If you have any questions,
Yeah.
Sorry, I just
feel
pounded
free to
on the
leave
table.
them. Feel free to leave them in the comment section if you have anything to share or say or whatever. And I will see you later, I guess.
yeah.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary to you.
All right, guys. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate it. I will see you later.
Bye.
I'm gonna fall off this chair.